Hello everyone, Ceri the Crafter here, that's C-E-R-I the Crafter, and I'm here with page 26 of hashtag Mixed Media March 25. Now if you don't know what that's all about, take a look in the description box below the video. You'll see there's a link there to the launch video. It will explain everything. Now before I show you the page, let me show you what we're using as a background. Now, yesterday I said I'd come across 2 packets of gift wrap paper in my stash when I was looking through them, and I was using one for a whimsical yesterday and one for a whimsical topic today, and this was the other one. So now what I've done is I've gone ahead and I've already covered the page itself with the paper because I can't do it on screen anyway. So here we go. Now I'm going to do this again. I'm always struggling with this. So as you can see, it's all nicely down. I've honoured the edge here where the hinge is. I did have to put a bit of dark blue washi down there because I hadn't managed to get this page evenly up to this one. So I put a bit of dark blue washi down there and I thought, it just tidies it up. Now, for all you eagle-eyed subscribers out there, quite a few have mentioned, Ceri, there's no gel print on this image. Well, you know what? Yes, there is. Because if you think all the way back to day one, on my very first creation, I wrote the number in pen and signed it. And then I changed my mind and I used tissue paper numbers. Now, the tissue paper numbers, and here it is, all of them are generated from the gel plate. So my thing is, no matter what I do, as long as I put the number in, I've always met my criteria of it has to have something from the gel plate. But thank you for pointing it out, because goodness knows I can be wrong at times. And I did sign it and did number as you saw. Okay, so when it comes to this, I'm staying with the whimsical thing still. Now I thought, okay, this reminds me of like those, basically I had comics as a kid when we could get them. And this would be like Bam, Bam, Batman, Robin, Superman, all of these sort of things remind me of comic books. And I did the Cow Jumped Over the Moon yesterday. I wanted to do something that's a bit like comic book villains in this one. Now, I remember as a child, usually the most dashingly handsome character, man, who was an absolute gentleman, usually ended up as a villain, and the stunningly beautiful, delicate female who used to waft in and out of stories ended up as a villain as well. So, this young lady is going to be my villain. Now, I'm not 100% certain how she's going to become a villain yet. I have an idea, but I'm not sure. So let's just fold this one up and push this up slightly because I'm going to have to play around with scale today because obviously she's huge on that page, but that's fine because the background really, it's wild enough to take that. I wanted to put her in a villain's mask. Now, I found this in my local Hobbycraft, but obviously it's too big. So I need to downsize that, which is the first thing to do. Then I've got a few decisions to make. So what I did is I squished this as flat as I could onto this bit of paper and drew around it. This will now go into my stash and I'll probably collage it at some point and turn it into something else. So I now have my mask piece here. Now, I folded it down the middle because I only need to cut half a mask. I want to shrink this down. I find it easier, if I'm not using technology, I find it easier to already have the line. So I've come into about there and I can draw a line parallel to this one. And I can draw a parallel line to this one. And then I'll keep doing this until I feel that I've got it to the right size. And then when I've done that, I will deal with the eyes. Right, I didn't like the way that went there, so just curve that over a bit. So now I've got it doubled over, I'm just going to cut this out, and this will give me an idea then as to what size I really need. I know I keep picking up the big scissors, and there's a reason for that. Because my small scissors, the one that I would normally use for fussy cutting and everything, is downstairs in my kitchen, because I now keep my fussy cutting in the kitchen, because usually, because we all know I don't like fussy cutting, usually if I'm cooking a meal or I've got the kettle on or something, or I'm waiting for the microwave, or I'm feeding the dog or something like that, you'd be surprised how much fussy cutting you can get in a day when you actually just do little bit by little bit by little bit. So I'll bring this around here. So this will be my first test of the new size of the mask. Now I don't mind if the mask goes off the page slightly, I just don't want it to go off completely. So let's bring back my little villain lady back in. Right, we're still a bit too big. So I'm going to repeat that exercise again, but by doing it in stages and redrawing it, I'm kind of keeping the dimensions and the scale of this. So every time I'm taking about, I'd say that's probably about a centimetre, maybe half an inch, quarter of an inch maybe. Now, if I was going to use technology, which would have been my first choice, I could have just scanned or photographed this, taken it into my computer, scaled it down in size, and then I would have ended up with the right size that I wanted. But I wanted to show you that if you don't have a computer or software, you don't necessarily have to do it. This is doing it old school, as I would call it. I'm going to shave a little bit more off that than I drew, because I think I like, as this is a villain, I'd like this to be more sweeping upwards. So I hope you're all doing right. You're all doing okay out there. It's a lovely, lovely day here in Wales. So see, each time I do this, we're bringing this down in scale. But I'm keeping it symmetrical as I go. Come back in here. I think we're not far off, actually. I think one more round of that and I'll be happy with that. I can also shrink this down a bit. That seems really wide. I'd quite like to narrow that down. Right. And then I have to deal with the eyes. And bring this down because I wanted to shorten the nose area. I was very tempted to just paint a black eye mask on her, because if you remember these supervillains, they're all supposed to have these masks that they take off. But half the time you can tell the makeup artist has just painted the mask directly onto the actor. In the movies, anyway. Yes, tomorrow we'll be going back to a little bit more serious mixed media art. Right. I mean, not too serious, it's me. But you know what I mean? The more established version of this. Right, so she doesn't have to be fully on that page. I'll open up. Right, I like that, and I quite like the way, I mean, I can move this over, and I quite like the way this goes on there. And I'm going to eyeball where I think her eyes should be. Remember, she's an evil character, and I didn't say she was human. So I think if I do the eye about there, maybe a bit bigger than that, but that kind of where it should be. This book needs to be on wheels. So if I come in a bit bigger than that, I do have an idea for the eyes. I just haven't quite got my head around it yet. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, these are just small pair of nail scissors I just happened to find in the bathroom when I was going to the other room. So I thought, right, we can use these instead of me try to do this with the big scissors. So just cutting from the center outwards in all four directions. And what this means, it'll just help me manipulate my scissors around the inside. Now I'm going to be using this as a template to cut a gel print out to make the mask from. So I'm not overly bothered that I've got marks and stuff all over this. I also may alter something when I've decided that I've got it the right shape, because I don't like the size of this gap here. So I may well just adjust that when it comes to cutting it in real time. Now, we're not actually going to see her eyes through this mask. I'm going to make her a new set of eyes, a little more scary set of eyes, from something I found in a magazine. Right, let's take those out of there. I should just pull her in instead. Right, if I open up the other way, oh, actually, that's not bad for where the eyes were. Right, I can't. I'm thinking I want to shrink this down a bit, just to make me happier. Okay, I'm all right with that. Right, so I said I wanted to give her the mask in a different colour. I pulled these two out, and let's just pull everything back in. I pulled these two out because I couldn't work out which one I thought would work best. Now, the red is beautiful and she'd have a lovely mask, but looking at this, I think if I did the mask out of green, it would stand out more on this background. Definitely more on this background. Right. So now my process is going to be, I now need to make this mask out of this. So instead of tracing around it, I'm going to choose a bit of the mask that I think would make a good center. Actually, that bear by there would probably be okay. And I'm going to fold this piece of paper in half down the middle. I don't mind if there's a fold in the middle of this design. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to loop this around this. Is the green up or down? I'd rather that was down a bit more, actually. So, and now I'm going to cut this out. Now, I'm not going to make you sit through and watch me do this all again. I'm going to do just what I did before. I'm going to cut around this. I am going to cut this slightly less. And here we are. So the template is finished with. However, you know me, I'm keeping the template. I never know when I have to make a mask again this size. And where is she? So I did alter this slightly, and I've got a feeling I may alter another part of it slightly in a minute. I think this looks a little wide here now. So I think we might just shave that down ever so slightly. And anyone who thinks this is looking like Poison Ivy from Batman and Robin, I thought the same thing. But you know what? There's going to be a bit of a twist in the tail on this one. I think that's okay. So it's not only elegant, it's large. Just see if I want to. So it's this just trial and error, guys. Just trial and error. I think that will do. And actually, if it goes up there, that makes it even better for me because it covers her eyebrows. I'm not worried about the eyes. The eyes have nothing to do with this. Got some pencil marks on there. That's all gone. Now, she's going to have to be stuck down at some point in our future, but put you to one side, lady. Let's just work on these. Now, I'm going to do something that you're probably not expecting. I'm giving her new eyes. Now, I happen to have two of those at some point. I did. I happened to come across an attractions what do you call it, pamphlet or leaflet somewhere along the way last year, and it was all about Jurassic World. And there was this logo in there, and it had these eyes, and I cut them out, and I thought, you know what, they're going to be perfect. And you know what, they're going to be perfect. And I was a bit worried about the size of them, but you know what, I think that's going to be fine. Now, the question is, how would she be looking? So would she be looking directly at us, or would she be looking on a slight angle? We're going for alien, guys. We're not going for normal. So anyone who's going, what the heck is going on? If that's that way up. Now, if they're going slanted straight down as her face would be. Actually, that does look a bit more menacing, doesn't it? Right, how do I want to do this? I'd like to hold them in place, to be honest. Let's take a bit of glue. And come in and just put a bit on. I knew I'd move it. So get the other one in place, and then hopefully I can work my way around it all then. I think I'll move that one slightly too. Right, so that's kind of take her out of the way now. I've got this to work on now. I think, as you can see, this is going to be tricky to do. Let's actually, I've got a bit of magazine paper I can use. So I'm going to bend this up and hold it in place and put glue all over the bottom half of the eye. Let this back down and touch it down, and then I'll be able to trim around it. So I'm doing similar to what I did with the guy yesterday when I stuck his new head on. I actually glued the elements together, and then afterwards I will come in and glue the whole thing down. Right, do I need any more of that stuck? Yes, that needs to be stuck a little bit. It'll all be held in place anyway, because the whole thing's going to be glued down, and it will get glued down onto her face when she's in place. So I'm going to fold these in half because we know they're symmetrical. I'm just going to chop that. Does anyone remember a TV series? Oh gosh, when's this? Maybe late 70s, early 80s, I think it was. It was called V, like V for victory. Don't know why this just popped into my mind now, that this reminds me slightly of that sci-fi series. I don't know whether it was an international series or whether it was just one that was based in the UK and only we saw it. I mean, I was a child, I don't remember. Okay, so let's bring her in now. Okay, lady, you're looking fabulous. Right, I think I want to do something with the mask before I put her on there. I wish I had a different sort of mouth that was a different sort of mouth, but I don't. That's the only mouth I've got. I've got nothing that's like grimacing or grinning or anything along those lines, because that's what I would do. So let's take her out the way and this in. Now I want to outline this in black. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to use my Posca pen. This is PC5M, which is a 2.5 millimeter. Now, this should be fine because it's acrylic on acrylic. And there's acrylic in it. So I just need to carefully go around the edge of this because it needs to stand out. I'm not worried that the line may be not absolutely symmetrical or even all the way along the edges. It is what it is. I was considering, could I do scales or something like that on this mask? And then I thought, well, actually the scales wouldn't be on the mask, would it? They'd be on her. So I'm not about to paint her green and try and do stuff on her. Hopefully I've been in shot for all of that. Oh, let's see how I did. Okay, that's not bad. I've done a lot worse in my life. Right. Now I'd like to go around the middle of her eyes, but certainly not with this size. This is a PC1MR. Well, that could have been done a little bit neater than that, but let's see if I can just do it. That's better. Now I'm wondering, I need to stick this on sooner or later, and I'm wondering whether I want to enhance her face or her features in some way, which I'm tempted to put scales on her cheeks or on her skin. That looks like a really demonic Ninja Turtle, doesn't it? Right, let's put this one by. At what point do I attach you? That's the question. I kind of think I should be attaching her now. Right, let's do this. Let's flip this over, pull in this. Let's hope that everything on this mask is dry enough for me to actually put down. So I've just seen a bit, I just want to trim a little bit. Just round that out a little bit more. Right, let's hope to goodness I'm not going to take the eyes off the back as I'm putting glue on the front. Now I know the points stick out over the edge, so I shouldn't really be gluing them, but I can deal with that. I want to make sure that they're on. So why is it about? Right, so I know I've got glue on the backs of these. So I'm just going to come in with a bit of kitchen towel, paper towel, and just dab off the excess so it's not hugely covered in glue. I just wanted to make sure it was glued all the way up to the edge. Now I did pull out some words. I don't know what words we're going to use, but I did pull out some words that we might use. Right, so that's that. Now, do I want to put anything on here? Like scales, or how do I want to enhance this? Let's put in situations so I can see how this actually looks on the page. Right, so there are going to be words. If I can take that bit off there, would be a good idea too. So if I pop that down in that corner, I've got some words, as I said, don't know which words are going to work and which ones aren't. let's put her down and then I'll see what else I do with her. So, actually, I don't think I'm going to do this with you on screen. I'm going to glue the back of her with glue stick, and then I'm going to glue her in position as you just saw, because it's tricky trying to negotiate this book around all these nooks and crannies and corners with trying to stay in focus. Bear with me, guys. I will be back. Okay, so she's all glued down. I'm actually quite liking her as she is, to be honest with you. I think I want to play around with words and sayings and see what happens. I did have 2 more pieces of something I could have put in here, but I wasn't really sure whether I wanted them in here or not. These were gift tags that came with this background, so I'm not sure. I mean, I'm going to keep these within eye shot, and I may or may not use them, is what I'm trying to get at. Okay, the words. We need to find something that's going to work, right? I have the word shapeshifter, which sounded a bit extraterrestrial. Natural selection could be something I could use. Now, this one appealed to me, and it didn't apply to her because this in my mind is a woman. It said, ambling towards us is a young male dragon, around 7 feet long, its claws sharp, its jaws dripping with vicious drool. It kind of is in theme, but I don't know whether it's the right thing to do. Let's just chop it down ever so slightly and see whether I like it more when it's a bit less. I've got a feeling this must have been something, say, from National Geographic or something. It sounds like it's commentary, say, from a Komodo dragon, or... Do you get what I mean? Right, so let's pop that up by there, just in case I feel it needs to be up there. I quite like this one. I do not follow the rules, but actually looking at it now, it's too pale. Guess who's coming to dinner? That one sort of appealed to me. Flavor hunter. I could take the word out, hunter, but that's not working for me now either. This made me smile. The pet event, which put a whole nother spin on this. I wonder, could I... If I take the black edge off that, that might actually fit in there. So I don't know if you can see me doing this, but I'm sure whoever put this marketing campaign together didn't expect for it to be turned into what it's been turned into. Well, the pet event is making me smile anyway, so let's just leave that up there to marinate. The natural alternative, possibly. Where beauty meets innovation. That's just a little bit sarcastic, maybe even for me. I have girl power, but that's just way too big. So let's have another little look at these. Guess who's coming to dinner appeals to me. The natural alternative, I don't think does anymore. Natural selection. And I also need to remember I've still got to put my number in that in here. Actually, if I put, would it fit if I go up there? I'm liking this. This makes me smile. See, I'm too balancy, aren't I? I always do that. And I did quite like ambling towards us. Okay, is pet event wrong? There's dog footprints in it. Yeah, let's take that out. I love it. It's sort of, it's quirky enough for me, but guess she's coming to dinner, ambling towards us. Natural selection. Let's see, where's that chopper gone again? I don't think we're far off. I was going to put maybe scales on her skin, but I actually don't think so. I quite like the quirkiness of this now. It's beginning to pique my interest, should one say. Natural selection works for me. I can deal with natural selection. And because I'm someone who really loves dragons, having the dragon quote there really works. I like that. For some reason, that doesn't seem strong enough. Do you know what? Give me a second. I think I'm going to see if I can find a piece of paper that's black that I could mount that on, because I think if it had a black outline, I might like it better. And if I do, I'll glue it down and trim the edges so that you're not waiting around for me to do that. Okay, I like that. I'm going to put that down, and I think I'm going to put it down by here, and I'll still have room to get my number and my signature under there. I think that's going to be it. Let me just get all this stuck down, guys, and then we'll have a little look-see, and I need to get my name and all that lot on here as well. So just something quirky again. I mean, it's just, you can't take yourself too seriously in art. You just need to play occasionally. And I'm always one for telling everyone, just play, just play. And then guess what? Half the time I forget to play. Right. And as with anything like this, like even with yesterday's, I could have taken this so much further. I mean, I could give her antennae. I could give her wings sticking out the back of her. I could do so many different things with her. But I'm not going to, because I think the eyes are shock enough. And remember, I said I was hoping to create something that reminded myself of one of those beautiful villains that you see in these sort of comic strips. A little bit of that shown up there would be a good thing. And this was just a piece of black craft paper that I found. It wasn't cardstock. I didn't want anything that heavy. I think that there works. Now the question is, are either of these too much? Or should I put one in down there? Like Bang is up there. I could easily put Bang down there. I'd probably have to fussy cut around this. It's thinnish card. I could probably cut around that, not too much of a problem. Or do we think that's just too much? Boom is definitely too much, because Boom isn't actually seen on this page, well, except for the ooh up there. I think I'm going to call it done, guys. I'm struggling to make it more complex than it probably needs to be. So give me a second. I'm just going to tidy everything up, and then we'll come in for a close-up. I'll put the number and the signature on there as well. So here you go, guys. Just another one of my little whimsical, quirky sort of creations. Just sometimes I just need to take a break from the full-on art all the time. So tomorrow we'll go back to it. I've kind of got an idea about what I want to do tomorrow. Yeah, I'm okay about that now. Now, there are plenty of things I could have done with this. I mean, I'm always conscious of, I have a time limit that I personally set myself to create something. However, I could have come in with markers and I could have changed her hair color. I could have changed her lipstick. I could have stenciled scales onto her cheeks. I could have given her antennae coming out of here quite easily. I could have decorated the mask. I could have done a lot more things to it, but I think, you know, for the time that I had to do this, I think that's quite quirky. it sort of works. So we've got sort of outer space and alien-ish. So I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was one of those things. So I will see you tomorrow. And I am Ceri the Crafter. That's Ceri, the Crafter. Until tomorrow. Goodbye now.